He is sparkling today with the way that he's producing this performance for Soudal Quickstep.
Welcome to the 87th edition of La Flèche Wallonne. It's been 40 years since we first hosted the race finish, and its iconic mur has since become one of the most famous climbs in cycling. Today, 175 riders will tackle Chapter 2 of the Ardennes Classics, with Tadej Pogačar looking to add to his brilliant solo win at Amstel Gold and set up a potential treble at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. The defending champion Dylan Teuns is out with illness, record 5-time winner Alejandro Valverde has retired, and Julian Alaphilippe is saving himself for the weekend, so plenty of big names missing. The only formal winner on the start line is Mark Hirschi, and he'll be working for his team leader Pogačar. Ben Healy and Tom Pidcock are also riders to watch after making the podium at Amstel Gold. Mike Woods has a very solid record here, including third in 2020, and there are plenty of other contenders, including Sergio Higuita, Romain Bardet, Enric Mas, Tish Benoot, Mikel Landa and Neilson Paulus. Make no mistake though, Pogačar is the overwhelming favourite. $194k to cover with over 3,000 metres of elevation gain. The riders will go up the Côte d'Eref, the Côte de Chérave and the Mur de Huy 3 times each, and in all likelihood it will come down to the final climb. The last solo victory at Flèche Wallonne was 20 years ago, although with Pogačar in arguably the form of his life, anything is possible. 8 riders got into the day's breakaway without too much trouble. Daryl Impey was up there for the second year running, along with Lawrence Nassen, Jakob Hinsgård, Georg Zimmermann, Raul Garcia Piana, Johan Means, breakaway specialist Jetse Bol and Søren Kragh Andersen, who also tried his luck with a late attack last year. A bit of a change of strategy this for the Dane, winner of 2 Tour de France stages in 2020. Meanwhile, the Peloton were just happy to manage the gap, which was slightly under 4 minutes. UAE Team Emirates and the Ineos Grenadiers pacing on behalf of Pogačar and Pidcock. The average speed, though, still over 45 km an hour in the early part of the race. The Peloton began to turn the screw as they headed onto the Mur for the first time, bringing the gap down to under a minute. Unfortunately, the race ended there for David Gaudu. He was forced to abandon due to illness, having already pulled out of Amstel Gold on Sunday. Nassen was the first to be dropped from the front group. The Peloton, though, just keeping their powder dry as they followed them up to the summits. But the intensity was set to ramp up as they hit the final 2 laps. The breakaway eking out a few more seconds before Kragh Andersen decided to go on the attack on the second climb of the Côte d'Eref. The man from Alpecin de Koenig was clearly having a very good day. Only Hinsgård and Zimmermann were able to stay with him. With Garcia Piana in no man's land, Kragh Andersen put in a second stinging attack, and that was the end of Hinsgård's stint up at the front. In the Peloton, UAE was still working hard for Pogačar, but the gap wasn't coming down just yet. The 2 leaders heading back onto the Mur de Huy with over a minute in hand as a few riders from the Peloton decided to strike out, including the former under-23 world champion Samuele Battistella. The Italian pushing on, and he was joined by local boy Louis Fafaka, who lives in nearby Marneffe. They eventually caught up with Kragh Andersen and Zimmermann to make it 4 men at the front. Their advantage, though, down to just 20 seconds, with the favourites starting to think about that final climb. The breakaway continuing to give it their all, but it soon became obvious that it would once again come down to the Mur de Huy. Zimmermann was the next to crack, with other teams starting to give UAE a hand at the front of the Peloton. Fafaka and Kragh Andersen looked the strongest of the 3 riders out front, and they gained a few precious seconds after a crash in the Peloton. That ended the hopes of Paulus, Kron and Jesus Herrada. UAE were clearly on a mission though, and they reeled in everybody except Fafaka on the Côte de Chérave. The Soudal Quickstep rider impressing on his home roads and still going solo at the summit, flying his way into Huy for a final assault on the Mur. But the peloton would have him in their sights at the foot of the famous climb. The road starting to rise as Woods moved towards the front. Pogačar not far behind him. Romain Bardet then looked to launch down the right-hand side of the road, but he couldn't squeeze through. So who would make the decisive move on the Muur?
Round the turn, here's the important point in the Flèche Wallonne. Bardet is looking absolutely superb today, but it's getting balked a little bit. Pogačar moves up on the wheel. Also up here, trying to get into position is Maxime van Gils, but it's Michael Woods who has the front of the peloton. Only 300 metres to go now. It's Woods, it's Bardet. Pogačar looks supreme. It's Mikel Landa. Behind Mikel Landa is Aguirre's around, and here goes Tom Pidcock. Pidcock makes his move. Bardet kicks hard. Bardet now goes. It's Pogačar on his wheel. Woods is tracking all the way up this climb. Mikel Landa, Giulia Ciccone. Bardet is almost in slow motion in a massive gear. And the tornado is about to strike. Tornado Tadej. Pogačar pounces and goes forward. Is this the hammer blow? No one is able to respond. Pogačar has flown, and coming back to him now, only one rider from Trek Segafredo. He glances across. Has he got it? Tadej Pogačar, a tornado has struck at the top of the Muur de Huy. He's got enough. Pogačar wins Flèche Wallonne. He took the Amstel. He takes the Flèche. What a ride by Tadej Pogačar.
There is no stopping Tadej Pogačar at the moment. That's 3 wins in a row for the Slovenian superstar after the Tour of Flanders and Amstel Gold. He has a staggering 12 victories in 2023, having also enjoyed stage race success at Ruta del Sol and Paris-Nice. He could now become just the 3rd man to complete the Ardennes Triple on Sunday as he goes in search of a 2nd crown at Liège-Bastogne-Liège.
Winning, I don't know. I think for everybody, you don't get bored crossing the line first, and I really enjoying that, and I'm really grateful that I have this moment now with such a great shape. So I enjoy this moment while I can.
Pogačar taking win number 58 of his career ahead of Matthias Skjelmoser, with Landa completing the podium ahead of Woods. Ciccone made it 2 from Trek Segafredo in the top 5, with a host of French and Belgian riders rounding out the top 10. Focus now switches to La Doyenne, where Pogačar will try to follow in the footsteps of Philippe Gilbert and complete the Ardennes hat-trick, but Remco Evenepoel is bound to have other ideas. Do join us again on Sunday, and thanks for watching.